radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome, Fade to Black. Yeah, man. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. How you doing? How you doing? Today is Wednesday, June 30th, 2021. 182 days into the new year. Only 183 days left. We are live from a bunker that is in the middle of nowhere. A total undisclosed location, but as you can see, it is beautiful. It is. States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Man, I love the gifts. I love the gifts. Love the gifts. Man, that just warms me up. Olivia, Corey, Julie of York, Mark, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. Thank you for all of these. It's the way to kick off the show, especially a show like tonight. Reuben Langdon is here. He's one of the coolest people in the world. Really, really cool guy. Great guy. Very, very, very talented. And great actor. Martial arts. He's the guy. You go out drinking, that's who you want with you, because you can just get loud, cause trouble, and you know you got Reuben with you. But there's all of that, and Devil May Cry, right? But there's the UFO aspect, there's the ET aspect, and of course tonight we're going to be talking about the new season of Interview with ED, Extraterrestrials. And that's tonight. It's season 3, by the way. And but also his background in the disclosure movement is very important. His role in all of that. So we're going to talk about that tonight too as well. And there you go. We've got the trailer up. I posted it for season 3 of Interview. How we say Ed? ED. And so you can go and check out the trailer. The premiere is tomorrow. All right, so we'll be talking about all of that. And then Thursday night, tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe is here for her take on the UAPTF report. I'm looking forward to that. All right. Now, coming up, Linda is with us on July 17th for our Forbidden Disclosure online conference with Richard Dolan and Lou Elizondo, Nick Pope, and Billy Carson and myself, along with Linda. An 11-hour all-day event going down. Man, the tickets. Oh, man, Mark Tarana. That's classic. All right, Mark just broke my concentration. Well done. And this will always get an RT. All right. Well done, Mark. Well done. Hashtag that. That's oh, man. I miss Jim Mars. I miss Jim Mars a lot. Thank you. Oh, man. If you want to see what I'm looking at, hashtag F2B right there on Twitter. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. You can see what Mark Tarana just tweeted out. That's pretty good. I'd like to know how you did that. And can I steal it? Is that a GIF? That's Jim Mars choking me out. The tickets are available over at jimmychurchradio.com. Click Get Your Tickets July 17th. Follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. My Twitter's acting funky. Okay, so my tweet deck is cool, but my Twitter page is blank. And I've got no notifications from anybody. I don't got any emails from Twitter. I don't know, man. I don't know. Notifications are there. Okay, so I see those. But I go to the main page on Twitter, it's blank. It's scary. Why would it be blank? And it says something went wrong. Try reloading. And I reload the page, and it's still the same. What's going on there? There you go. Jimmy is so loved, I'm sure, by the feds, too. You're absolutely right, Julie of York. There you go. All right, where am I at? Breaking news. Bill Cosby was released from prison today after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned his sex assault conviction. I'm going to leave that right there. Donald Rumsfeld, the former Secretary of Defense under two presidents, died today at the age of 88. According to a statement from his family, he oversaw two wars. They call them conflicts. I call them wars. Iraq and, of course, Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. No cause of death was immediately provided. I posted this up today. I'm absolutely impressed with this. The air car just proved that flying cars have arrived. The hybrid vehicle, part aircraft, part vehicle, part car just took to the skies in Slovakia and successfully completed its first intercity flight. The pioneering design is the handiwork of Professor Stefan Klein of Klein Vision. Incredible, by the way, the video. Go and watch it. The Slovakian outfit has been working on the craft for more than 30 years. The final version is called the Prototype 1, and it can transform from a sports car, a cool-looking sports car, this isn't rinky-dink, into an aircraft in just about 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It's equipped with a gasoline-powered 160-horsepower BMW engine with a fixed propeller for added propulsion, as well as a ballistic parachute. And it looks cool. I mean, this is not some dorky thing that you'd be embarrassed to be seen in. Finally, a flying car that I can get behind and support. It's incredible. Go and look at the video. It's incredible. It looks expensive, but it is really, really nice. Well, also today, a 70-foot rocket blasted off from beneath the wing of a 747 over the Pacific Ocean earlier today, launching 9 satellites for rocket startup Virgin Orbit. That's right. Now, the plane, nicknamed Cosmic Girl, took off from California earlier today, just before 7 a.m. Pacific time. About an hour later, the pilot hit a large red button to cue the rocket's release from beneath the aircraft's left wing. The satellites belong to a variety of Virgin Orbit customers, including the U.S. Defense Department, a Polish startup called Sat Revolution, and the Royal Netherlands Air Force. That's right. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Base God. Stanley Clark is 70. Yngwie Malmsteen today is 58. And Pantera's Phil Anselmo today is 53. And our dead guy's birthday today is Florence Ballard. 1943 to 1976, she died at the age of 32. Florence was a founding member of the Supremes. She sang on 16 top 40 singles, including 10 number one hits. After being removed from the Supremes in 1967, she struggled with alcoholism, depression, and poverty for 3 years. She was making an attempt at a musical comeback when she died of a heart attack in February 1976 at the age of 32. Incredible story. On this day in history, OTD 1971. 3 Soviet cosmonauts who served as the first crew of the world's first space station, Salyut 1, die when their spacecraft depressurizes during re-entry. On this day in 1971. Fate or fact? This is a fact. Chris Christopherson broke into the music biz after landing a helicopter on Johnny Cash's lawn. That's right. Yeah, Christopherson was a helicopter pilot. Couldn't get anybody to check out his songs. He was upset. And so he landed his helicopter on Johnny Cash's lawn. Johnny Cash comes out, "What are you doing?" He says, "Hey, man, I'm a songwriter." And the rest is history. Check it out. That's a fate or fact. Tonight, very special guest Reuben Langdon returns with the new season of Interview with ED, Extraterrestrials. Tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe is here for her take on the UAPTF report. And right now I'm going to hit this River Moon coffee. River Moon coffee, fade to black blend, best coffee in the world. And tonight, it should be Life Change tea in that mug, but I can't do that. I can't do that during the show. It's a risk. It's a risk that you take. And right now, I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Ronnie McMullen from Life Change Tea. Ronnie, how are you, man?
I'm good. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I can't drink Life Change Tea during the show.
Have you ever done it?
Yes.
And you had a risk?
Once. And
It only takes once to be, but I think that was in the early days.
It's a test.
You should be conditioned now.
It's a testimonial that it works. It's that simple, man. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember this is a long time ago, right? And I'm just drinking the tea, and I remember I was in the middle of the show. I was like, "Whoa, what?" And okay. Moving on.
It's really what Robin says to Batman. He says, "Holy tea, Batman."
Yeah, holy tea. And it's really funny because the tea it works, and once you start drinking it, and the signals, right? There is when it's working, your stomach is how do I want to? It's like fizzing.
It will talk to you.
Yeah, it's fizzing. It's a fizz.
Communicate with your stomach. It'll be more like.
Yep. And that's when you know the action is going on. And the other, once you become a veteran of the tea, you can tell because I drink it every day, right? But you can tell when you are pretty clean. Because then the fizzing action doesn't happen, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
and the bathroom visits slow way down, too.
Slow way down.
I mean, you go to the bathroom, but it's not like, holy tea, Batman.
Yes. Okay. But yes, these are subjects that are difficult to talk about sometimes. But those that have drank the tea, they understand. What's new in your world, Ronnie? A crazy week with UFOs. Have you been following the drama?
Well, I'm too busy in my own little drama fest with trying to keep my house standing still due to the fires that Arizona's been suffering from. So we have fire after fire after fire, and there was one that almost took my house out about a week ago.
Wow.
And got about 50 feet from the, not 50 feet, excuse me, half a mile from the house. And too close for comfort.
No.
I stood for 4 hours watering the house down.
Yeah. No, half mile is close. I've been through that. I've been right there. And when it gets that close, I mean, I remember you and I were talking about this, and I posted all the pictures, of the water dropping helicopters going overhead, and the evacuation line was a half a block from my house. A half a block. The next main street over from there, that was all evacuation zone. And then going north, that was east. And then going north, it was about a quarter mile up to the next major street. And north of that, that was all evacuation zone. And that's too close. And, I packed the car. I'm ready. I've got, it was just like, here we go.
I was odd man out. I was like, there, I had friends come over, help me water, doing whatever. And all of a sudden the fire department came by and said, this is a warning. Next time we come by, out you go. And so all my friends are like, Ronnie, it's time to pack the cars, get stuff. We'll help you get stuff off the property. And I said, no. Crazy me. I said, no. They said, no, what are you talking about? I said, it's insured. Let it burn. I'm tired, been through a lot in the past month or two, so I'd rather just see. And honestly, I didn't have a feeling that I was going to burn down, but you just never know.
Well, after that last fire experience, I went through that, and it was too close for me. So I ended up getting some bug out cases together. Full of food, water, whatever, emergency matches, radios, batteries, lamps, lanterns, and just in case, where I don't have to think, right? Just grab those two things, and my cell phone and my passport, right? Everything else can go. But grab the dogs and throw that stuff in the car, and I know that I'm good to go. I don't have to stop and think. And I think everybody should. It doesn't matter where you are. It could be fires, it could be tornadoes, it could be a hurricane, but there's always something where you are in the country that could pop up in a surprise. And if it does happen, just a couple of quick things that you just grab and go, just in case. That's
you're
all.
in California, so you also suffer from earthquakes.
Yeah, we have everything here. Everything goes down here. And
I was thinking you had a lot of water in California, so you're good to go, but that didn't prove to be true.
No. That's another issue that's going on here right now. But yeah, absolutely. I just advise.
Let's not forget the mudslides, Jimmy.
Well, see, but that's what I'm saying. It's anything, anywhere. Anytime. So for us, we have the fires, and then we have the rain, and then we have the mudslides. It's like this cyclical thing that we go through every single year. And out here right now, it's really hot. And you're the one with the fires. And Shasta, up near the Oregon border, they've got issues. One year we were up at Shasta. This is like 4 years ago. And the fires were raging all around Shasta. When we were driving back from Shasta, what we drove through, it was incredible to see. So, yeah, you've got to be ready. You just never know. You never know. We got to
throw our prayers up for the hot shots because they have quite the dangerous job.
Yeah. I'm watching them do their thing. And I just sit in my backyard and watch these incredible drops. And right next to our house, we have Whiteman Air Force Base, or Whiteman Air Base, whatever it's called. And hang on for a second. I got incoming text messages. Hold on for a second. It'll have to be after the show. I'm live right now. Period. Give me a couple hours? ? It's Lou Elizondo. Going, are you available for a phone call? Oh, man.
Talk about live radio.
Yeah, man. Well, that text come in and you jump. Okay. So anyway, this week, crazy with the UFO subject and, the report being delivered to the Senate Intelligence Committee and everything else, and more leaked videos and TMZ doing their live UFO special. I mean, it's It's Ronnie. It's weird. You've been covering this and doing this on radio for a long, long time. Have you ever seen UFOs in the media like this before?
Yeah, but see, I tipped my hat, Jimmy, and let you take care of things because I got out. So I couldn't even tell you if there one flew over my house.
You know what's funny? I was in Indianapolis this weekend, and my brothers are big into sports, and I used to be, in sports and broadcasting and stuff. And one of my brothers comes out and says, "Hey man, did you hear about blah blah blah? He hit 3-3-pointers or whatever. I didn't even matter." I said, "Who?" And he goes, I said, "Man, when I checked out of sports, I checked out of sports. I don't know anything."
If you're not checking out, then you're not checking out. You're just kind of half in it. You got a leg in it. And I tip my hat to you because you're a better jock than me anyway. So I'm like, time for me to move on and go to other pastures.
Now, one of the things I wanted to talk to you tonight about, Ronnie, where it seems that the numbers, with the pandemic and with everything, have dropped dramatically. The requirements, with face mask and everything, are pretty much lifted across the country, and that doesn't mean that people still shouldn't protect themselves. And right now is a bad time to let your guard down. You've got to keep your immune system up, right? There's no reason to relax.
The way I look at it is I agree with you. And the fact is it's not just COVID. It could be anything that you could get, any kind of sickness you could get. So why do that? Keep your immunity up. And the thing is, herbs work, whether you believe in it or not. That's the fantastic thing. And if you believe in it, you just kind of put a supercharger on top of their engine. If you don't believe in it, then they got to fight a little harder, but they're still going to work.
The immune system itself, it's one thing with diet. Diet is important, and fruits and vegetables and everything else, but you need to augment and build up on top of that. And even if maybe you're vaccinated, I think most people probably are now, but that doesn't seal the deal on anything. What's the best way to go about it with what you are offering over there to make sure that people have the best form of defense built up?
I call it Shields Up. So you got the pre and probiotic, but honestly, the number one product that will really, really, really keep your immunity up is the Allison Advanced. And people go, "It's a little bit pricey." And it's like, well, not really, because it's a 4-month supply. 4 months will get you. So you got that. You got the olive leaf. There's so many. My whole store is almost an arsenal of keeping your shields up. And that's why people don't get sick. I was on a broadcast last night, and the guy called in, and he says, "Ronnie, I've tried your products," and he says, "they work. And I love you, man, and I love what you're doing for the people." And it was like, wow. And I thought, so I told my daughter at the office, and I said, "Boy, this is what happened last night." And she says, "Dad, I got 2 emails today saying the same kind of thing." So, it makes you wake up in the morning and go, yeah, this is why I do this, because people build your immunity up, take care of issues that are, take care of the intruders that are trying to attack our body. And quite honestly, this is a bigger plan, because the GMOs that they're doing take down your immunities. Basically, you'll never hear the pharmaceutical companies or the doctors say, "Boy, you need D3, boy, you need vitamin C, boy, you never hear that. All you hear is, take drugs and get over it. And I'd rather be healthy.
You have got 2 monthly specials on the homepage, the Super Tea and Olive Leaf and the Essentials Pack. Tell us about those really quick.
The olive leaf is a huge immune builder. I mean, look at the olive tree. Some of these are lasting 2,000 years. So imagine the DNA in that tree getting inside of you. Yeah, baby. So they're great for immune, great for cholesterol, great for triglycerides, great for blood pressure. Awesome. And then the other special that we have on the essentials is if you got nervous problems, Essential Bees is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If you got diabetes, you're going to be exhausted of your minerals. So Minerals Plus is wonderful. And of course, both of the specials run with the tea. Very important to be having the teeth. All sickness starts in your gut.
And of course, you have your specials page. And when you go to getthetea.com, I always suggest going over to the specials page because you've got a bunch of incredible deals here. But each one of these, if the Fadernauts use the promo code Fader, they get the discount, they get the special, but they also get free shipping.
Yeah, but I made it even better tonight. I thought let's just toast to toast.
Right on.
So here's what it is. So your specials and stuff. So let's say you have something on my website and it's not on special and you really want it. You want to save some money. How about if you put Fader, you're going to get 10% off of that product plus free shipping.
That's why we love you, Ronnie. I want all the Fadernauts to understand what Ronnie just said. Put in the promo code Fader. If it's not on special, you're going to get a 10% discount and free shipping. There
Correct.
You go. Ronnie, you are the very best, and you've been with us for such a long time. I have been healthy. I've been healthy because of you and your support, and all of the Faders love you, and just thank you so much, man.
I appreciate it, and I love them too. They know it.
Ronnie McMullen. Again, everything is simple to do with Ronnie. Click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. Getthetea.com is right there. Click, get over there, check out all of his products. We've been talking about everything that I take personally. Olive leaf, I have been taking for 4 or 5 years now. I was going to say religiously, but I don't want to sound like that. But it's true. It's true. And just thank you so much, Ronnie. You are the absolute very best. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great 4th of July holiday. And we'll circle back as soon as we can.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.
You're the best. Ronnie McMullen, Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. Promo code Fader, Fader. There you go. If it's not on special, it'll be on special. 10% and free shipping. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. I'll be right back after this short break with tonight's guest, Reuben Langdon. Stay right there.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on jimmychurchradio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. Introducing the Game Changer blend from Rivermoon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all Rivermoon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great week on the show. I mean, it has just been incredible. And tonight, Reuben Langdon returns. It's the new season, Season 3 of Interview with ED, Extradimensionals. It premieres tomorrow. So tonight, Reuben is with us. Tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe is here for her take of the UAPTF report. Tonight, it is Reuben Langdon. Reuben is here to announce the new season of Interview with ED, and he's also going to give us his insight on the UAPTF report, that is the task force, and what disclosure means moving forward in 2021. Now, we can't forget that Reuben co-produced the Citizens Hearing on Disclosure, an historical event that brought together 40 witnesses from 10 different countries to testify in front of 6 former members of the United States Congress that the world was being engaged by extraterrestrials. His part of the disclosure movement, its importance cannot be measured. And his website, of course, is ReubenLangdon.com. And I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Reuben Langdon. Reuben, good evening, sir. How are you?
Doing good, Jimmy. Thanks for having me back.
And Reuben, you know, this is the thing. You and I have been friends for many years. You've been a guest at my house, right?
Yeah.
Right. All of that. We've done so many things, and you know I love you, right?
What's that? Why?
Because right now, I'm gonna bring on Lou Elizondo. Lou, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, sweet.
Hey, sir, I'm doing just fine. How are you?
You're raining on Reuben Langdon's parade tonight, Lou. Say hi to Reuben Langdon.
Oh, hey, Reuben, please forgive me, but let me just say for a moment that what you were able to achieve back then really, truthfully, helped set the stage for the conversation we're having now. So many people decided to risk so much back then because of your efforts. I think it made the conversation much easier to have today. And I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart, I'm actually here in Colorado Springs. I'm actually driving right now, doing some work, but I can tell you without a doubt that the work from the citizens hearing, there are still people, senior people I talked to today, that will go back and say, I remember that citizens hearing. There's actually some reporters too that have really come up in the last few years, and they were part of that coverage. And they tell me that one of the fundamental reasons that they're covering this topic now is because of the work you all did with the Citizens Project way back when.
Right on.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm watching Reuben now as you said that, Lou. How does that make you feel, Reuben, after all these years?
Wow. Well, yeah, thanks, Lou. I'm a big fan. I appreciate everything you're doing to get the word out, and to hear that from you just definitely gives me a nice warm fuzzy for sure.
well, Reuben, don't thank me. Let me thank you, because it's the hard work that you all did that helped make this possible. And I truthfully don't think we'd be here today had it not been for the courage of you guys to come out and force this conversation and get the people that you did on record when you did. So my hat's off to you.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Lou. And while I've got you here, this is a surprise to me. Once again, Lou on the show, but it's been a pretty crazy week. Lou, I want everybody to know that you and I have been in contact throughout last week, and of course on Friday when the report was released. But now that we're here on Wednesday, 5 days after the release, what's your take about the reception with the report? Some has been negative, some's been positive. It's kind of, we could...
Jimmy, I got to tell you, it's all been positive. When it's the negative is on the unclassified report, because that's what was publicly distributed.
Right.
But when you look at the reaction from Congress and what their reaction was, almost unanimously on the classified portion, was, man, we got to really look at this topic. This is real. This is important. This is a national security issue. Mm-hmm. It's not our technology. There's a very good chance it's not Russian or Chinese technology. And these aren't artifacts of the camera. These are real things. And, I can't go into detail of the classified portion, obviously, mm-hmm. but all you have to do is, common sense being common sense. Look at the result. You're now having Congress coming out for the record like never before, all saying we've got to take this seriously. You have this memo that came out from none other than the Deputy Secretary of Defense,
right,
herself, coming out saying, hey, we need to take this immediately for action, and we need to come up with a strategic plan on how we're going to handle this long term. Now, if that's not an indicator of how much this report resonated with our leadership, I don't know what to tell you. You've been asleep for the last week.
Right.
It has been overwhelming.
Yes.
I mean, people are... the unclassified version, we always knew was going to come out as milquetoast. We made no bones about it. We knew that. We were saying it's going to say it's not as U.S. technology, which it did, and it's not going to say a whole lot more. And the audience was warned that if you are expecting a huge revelation in the unclassified report, you're setting your expectations too high. And so the unclassified report did exactly what we thought it was going to do. It was going to say it's real, it's not ours, and it might not be for an adversarial. Now, when you get into the classified report, it says a hell of a lot more. And I think, all you have to do is look at the reaction from our government and those people involved, and you'll realize that. Yeah,
and I guess my point being, Lou, that when I first read it, I was watching everybody else's reaction, the unclassified report. And I think expectations were elevated. And there's that part of it. I told everybody, I need to read this over and over again, because I think that there is a lot more here than you think there is. And then, boom.
Jimmy, out of 144 incidents, they only found an answer to one.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, they admitted there, when you look at page probably 3 or 4, you look at it and you say, oh, well, superficially, they started with the events in 2004.
Right.
No, they didn't. That was just one. The other 143 incidents were from the last year and a half alone and involved Navy equities. Didn't involve Air Force equities, didn't involve the Army, didn't involve the Coast Guard, didn't involve the Marine Corps, didn't involve the intelligence community. And by the way, then they further substantiated and said, look, probably most of the reports haven't even been reported to us because of increased stigma and taboo. And, oh, by the way, reprisal and retribution.
Exactly.
So,
No,
I mean,
that's exactly my point. That's right. And I think page 5 is the stunner for me. And what I had said, as you probably know, I had John Greenwald on the show on Monday. And I said to everybody, no matter what you think about the report, this memo released on the same day of the report wouldn't have happened if the report wasn't delivered. And that you've got yes,
you're absolutely right.
Yep.
You're absolutely right, Jimmy, and so is John. You know, and this has been a group effort. Honestly, it really started going into high gear with the citizens hearing, you know, more than a decade ago. But because of the constant pressure, people like you and John Greenwald at the Black Vault and Tim McMillan over at the Debrief and everybody. I mean, this has really been a grassroots effort to get to where we are to today. And I think you are seeing this. This is, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is a process. It's not an event. We are not running a sprint. This is a marathon. And if you don't have the energy or the internal fortitude to run the full marathon, then don't even start it, because this is nothing that's going to be instant gratification. There are a lot of people that it might be surprising to your audience. They're just now really learning about the UAP topic for the very first time and taking it seriously. It's a lot like drinking from a fire hose, quite frankly. So we've got to give time and patience so the rest of the system can catch up. I know a lot of the folks are impatient and they want results now, but you're talking about moving an aircraft carrier, and those things don't spin on a dime. They take miles just to do a simple turn, and that's what you're asking this system to do as a government. It's a huge lumbersome type organization that's literally employing millions of people, and they're just now coming to grips and coming to terms with the reality of this. It takes time.
Thank you so much, Lou. Thank you so much for your efforts. You've had the busiest days this last month. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you need to find some time to relax and drink a cold beer and breathe.
Well, maybe you'll finally send me a courtesy bag of that wonderful coffee you have. I'm still waiting for it. I could probably use a cup or a pot or a bag or two at this point.
Lou, thank you so much, and we'll circle back tomorrow and have a conversation. For now, be safe, and thank you for stopping by.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen, thank you so much for having me, and to your wonderful audience, as always, thank you so much for what you do.
You're the best, Lou. Thank you so much, my friend. Again, be safe out there.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Lou Elizondo. Thank you so much, Lou. Driving in his car, Reuben, it was just really funny. He texted me, and I said, I think you might have heard me during the break. I said, man, I'm doing the show. And he goes, I'll call in. Well, okay. All right.
It's awesome. I'm honored to have Lou interrupt my segment. I wouldn't have it any other way. What a great honor. This is he's been out there in the trenches doing this stuff, and have been following very closely. And he's what a responsibility he's taken on to be sort of the spokesperson for in that segment that he's in with the government, and then the mainstream media seems to be liking him. So I'm all for him.
Well, you bring up a great point, and so did he. When you go back to 2013 and you being brought in to co-produce the event and make sure it gets done. And and the climate that was, it's hard to believe that, that was 8-9 years ago now. We're in 2021. Did things move as fast as you thought that they would? Did you think that you would be here in 2021, or did you think that it would have happened quicker?
To be honest, I thought I didn't understand the politics around the subject, around the media suppression the truth embargo, I was a bit naive going into it, thinking that the citizen hearing, obviously, what Lou just said, it really touches my heart to know that people of his stature were paying attention, because in the moment I felt like I had poured my heart and soul into it and got nothing in return, but ended up, losing my business. A lot of really not so nice things happened around that time in my life with just a lot of things. We went over budget. There was a lot of weird things going on at the time. So I went into recluse after the hearings. I spent a long time editing the footage, re-editing the footage, preparing the DVDs, because we did a DVD campaign, Kickstarter campaign, and I that's what sort of guided me to the show Interview with Ed, because I thought the world's not ready for disclosure. The media embargo was just too strong, and I kind of just threw my hands up and was like, all right, I gotta hit this from a different angle, because of the media suppression, the government weirdness around it. So for him to say that, really, it definitely, like I said, gives me a warm fuzzy, and it touches me in a unique way. So I'm glad that the efforts were not wasted and that there's still something to show for it, I suppose.
You did. I don't know if you noticed, but Senator Gravel passed away this week. Did you? I had one opportunity to sit down with him and privately for a couple of hours. It was an incredible his knowledge.
He's amazing.
Yeah. Did you have an opportunity to hang out with him during the hearing?
Oh yeah. We had a great time. He's such a treat. He's so passionate for disclosure, truth, transparency. He was responsible for getting the Pentagon Papers out. The Iran Contra stuff. He really had done a lot for this country. For transparency, and to have him a part of the hearings was such an honor, and it was a very sad this week or last week when that news dropped. Which we're actually Jeremy and I we're re-releasing the citizen hearing on YouTube. Our investor graciously said you gave us the green light to put it out so the public can see it. And this was all a few months ago. So all these things are just happening in a timely manner with all with the UAP report, re-releasing the citizen hearing. We're actually going to do the Roswell sessions this coming Friday. Every Friday we drop a new session, and we're right at the halfway mark. So we've got another 10 more or so episodes to drop, or sessions. So yeah, this is all happening. We're just like in a whirlwind of disclosure of unfortunately Senator Gravel passing. But
let me say one thing about Senator Gravel. When you meet him, right, and you look and you immediately you're speaking and meeting somebody with dignity, carries himself with this aura of accomplishment and of knowledge and of intelligence, and a little bit of I almost want to say Clint Eastwood. He's a trailblazer, and he doesn't give a blankety blank about the repercussions. You can tell that, and it's just this thing about him, and it was just like, wow, you just kind of got to step back and enjoy the moment. I'm not far off the mark when I say these things, am I?
No, you're not, and it's very apparent during the hearings. He's the most vocal about transparency, about the cover-ups. I think he was probably the most well-read on the subject out of the other Congress members. He had an interest and a passion for the subject matter. Where the others, we prepared them. We sent them information and materials to get prepared for the hearings. But I think he already had some insights on the information or the UFO subject matter. So it was just a joy to have him, to have his presence during the hearings. And then after, he was so passionate afterwards, following up, doing guest spots on TV shows, talking about it. And really pursuing and persisting with the conversation around the UFO subject matter.
Yeah, when I was, this is what I found interesting about him. When you're talking to him privately, he's got the knowledge, the passion, and he's speaking about things where you're saying to yourself, there's no way, this is private. There's no way he's going to go out in front of 2,000 people and repeat this. And he did, right?
He did.
He went right out and was just going straight there. And his knowledge, I mean, he speaks with, you can tell that he's not phoning it in. Like, he's dancing around and he doesn't really have, he's not read or he's not researched. No, it was not the case with him. He was very firm in his commitment to ET, what is happening in the skies, that there's a phenomenon going on, and he was going to pursue it, and he wasn't going to let it go.
And he was adamant about the cover-up. He actually mentions in the hearings that we had a Space Force before a Space Force was even announced. And a lot of people were like, "Oh,
yeah, right." That's the way I was with.
Moving on.
Yes. I was like, man, okay, just go, keep talking. That's all you can do. Well, and so the importance of the citizens' hearing, though, it has never been forgotten. People go back and refer back to those moments all the time. Right, it was historic, and it's out there. It's preserved, right? It's part of the record. It's out there, but now
public record. We're making it public record now on YouTube.
Yeah, and did you feel that at the time? I know it rushed by. It was a 2-day event, and
it was a 5-day event
or 5-day event, 2-day event. It was a 5-day event.
Press Club. It did fly by, and when you're in it and you have this gravitas of senators and congressmen, women, and certain media groups, obviously there was a lot of making fun of the event from different media outlets, but when you're in it, you're like, this is it. This is disclosure. We're gonna break this truth embargo, and we're gonna get through this, and we're gonna come out the other side, and the world's gonna be a different place. That was not the case at the time. I think a lot of people had similar hopes for the UAP report. But like Lou said, this is a slow-moving boat, and I'm now taking a bird's eye view, pulling back from being in this since 2013 or a little bit before that. We're seeing the boat is slowly shifting. I think what's this new report came out today that it's something like 2/3 of a new poll came out. 2/3 of the people of the U.S. Citizens now believe UFOs are real. Where back during the citizenry, it was like half the people thought UFOs were, or extraterrestrials were real or whatever it is. But now we have 2/3. I don't understand why it's not more with all of the good work that Lou and Chris and Jeremy and yourself are all doing. It seems like it should be more, but still 2/3 is the majority. And we'll see where this goes. I think we are in an extraordinary time in human evolution with so much happening right now, and especially this week, obviously with the UAP stuff, but just everything that's going on around the world with our, economies and the Corona stuff and just everything. It's such an amazing time to be alive, and can be stressful, but it can also, if you can pull back and look at it, and this is where, I kind of want to lead into my show. I started the show in 2014 after the hearings, and I started hearing about this, talking to these extra-dimensional beings about this time in human history, this evolutionary shift in consciousness that has been predicted for thousands of years. It's a cycle that we go through, every 13,000 or 26,000 years, we go through this evolutionary cycle, supposedly humanity, Earth, and here we are. We're seeing it, and to look at it from that view from 2013, 2014 to now, and then to constantly be getting this information, and then now be in it, and we're like, oh wow, this is when Corona hit. I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. I was kind of like waiting. I was like, well, things are kind of status quo. But then once that hit, I was like, oh, okay, here we are. There's no going back.
You have, I've got just a minute left. When we come back, we'll do the deep dive into interview. I want to talk about all 3 seasons, actually. The season 3 premiere is tomorrow, and we've got the links up, and we'll discuss all of that. But as a member of the media, you're a director, you're an actor, right? You've been in the gaming side, all facets of entertainment you've been involved with. But did you ever expect a global situation of the control of the masses to happen as quick as it did when the pandemic hit?
No, I don't think you could ever predict such a thing. But definitely seeing it now, yes, and distancing myself a little bit from some of those Hollywood control mechanisms. I go back into it now. I actually worked on set the other day. I have a different lens, a different view. I've always had sort of a different view, but really to see things develop how they have in the past year, it's been quite eye-opening and disturbing in some instances, but also positive and exciting because when things get rough, as they have always with evolution, that's when we find a new way. That's when we shift, and sometimes we need these difficult, pushes or our buttons pushed in a certain way to say, no way, not doing that. There's got to be a better way, and then that's when we find the better way.
Yeah, those buttons were certainly pushed this time around. It was shocking. Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, the one and only Reuben Langdon, is with us. Interview with ED Extra-Dimensionals. Season 3 premieres tomorrow. What is an extra-dimensional? We'll get into all of that after this short break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right. 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to forbiddenknowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30daysfree on forbiddenknowledge.tv today.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. KGRADB.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Reuben Langdon. And it's really funny. During the commercial, Reuben is hearing the Crystal Skulls ad. And Reuben goes, dude, ask me about the Crystal Skulls project. And you know what? I wanted to talk about season 3, but we can do overtime tonight. You've got nothing to do tomorrow,
right?
No, I'm fine.
So
I'm good. You got me all night.
Okay, all right. I went and grabbed some crystal skulls that I have here, Reuben. I've got a bunch, but check that
sweet.
out. That's
Good hell.
one tourmaline. Man, this is just beautiful. Brazilian quartz. Look at that. Look at that bad boy.
Wow.
And
you got some good ones.
Yeah, and I've got a baby Einstein here, and the other.
What is that made of?
This is don't put me on the spot, but it's nice. But it's nice. The other ones are 20 pounds, and I'm not about to pick them up and show them on the camera. I do have. I got to. It's Ingve's birthday today. Ingve Malmsteen. So. And this is Ingve.
Huh.
Solid pyrite. This guy, it's average size, but it's like 10 pounds.
Yeah. It looks like the Terminator skull.
It's yeah, I know, right? It's liquid. It's liquid. God, this thing is heavy. All right, let's put that down.
Wow, you're all charged up then.
I am, man. I've got it going on in here. So, what's the Crystal Skull project?
So this is actually really, it ties into season 3 a lot. So just as we were finishing season 2, my partner Steve Copeland and I, we had a interaction or a session, I should say, with the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull,
which I have too. I did a session too.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were hanging out with Daryl Anka and Bashar, and he had Bill Holman in the Mitchell Hedges skull as a guest, and all this weird stuff started happening. So we sort of, thought, well, we got to do something with this crystal skull. It's too connected to all this craziness to not include it in. And we came up with originally it was a TV show, and then we sort of shifted it to a feature film project that we've been working on now for the past year. And we pitched to Bill Holman. We're like, hey, Bill, you want to let's tell this story the way it should be told. And Bill was totally on board. And we've been filming on and off for the past year. And a lot of the episodes with Interview with Ed are also including a lot of the so sort of like the long form of our adventures with this skull. So the skull makes guest appearances in a lot of the upcoming episodes.
The Mitchell Hedges skull, when you look at pictures of it, it's not even close. There's no way it can be represented in video or images to bring out what you see in person. That skull is insane. I've got 30, 40 skulls, right? I've got big ones, nice. I've got, I love my skulls. The Mitchell Hedges skull, its clarity and its dimensionality, right? Mm-hmm. And you look into
anatomically correct.
It's insane. It's insane. It speaks to you. It's beauty. It's just not brought out. When I'm trying to put this into words. We've all seen it for many, many years, right? And then you see it in person, and you look at it, and you are sucked in. That thing is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, filming it on and off, and filming people's interactions with it has been quite a joy, because we've probably filmed, I would say, over 150, maybe 200 people interactions of different people from all over. Some people who are familiar with the skull and the history, some people not familiar at all. It's really interesting to film kids, because kids have, they come in as this blank slate, and they come in and they sit with the skull, and the service that Bill provides, where he provides a time to sit with the skull and to feel the energy, it's unlike no other service that I don't know. It's like going to see a psychic, but you're talking to a crystal entity instead of the skull, and or I'm saying instead of Bill. And these kids have these interactions, and we've caught a lot of this on film. And they just go in and they start having a conversation, and some people will cry, some people laugh. My buddy Steve and I, we call it skullwaska. People
Right.
go and have skullwaska sessions.
I want to know about your personal interactions with it. If you want to share it. Mine were kind of personal. But when I first looked into the eyes, right, and and what I saw, there was a physical thing, because what I saw was half of the skull. Man, I'm serious, man. I went into a trance, but like half was like this blue color, and the other half was like this light red. And I kind of had to rub my eyes for a second, because I kind of backed up, and it's clear, right? But when you get into this trance-like thing, it's talking to you, and I'm watching this color change. Did you experience anything like that?
Actually, I have not. I haven't sat with the skull yet. Intentionally, I've been trying to, other than prior to even meeting Bill or having any history on any of the skull stuff, I didn't know what it was about. I had a crazy, very vivid dream where I was standing on a cliff, and the UFO came over the cliff and was coming, and it was very lucid. It was just seemed very real. And my wife said I was actually speaking in my sleep, talking in my sleep. As the UFO came over, I was like, "This is it. Here we are. It's happening finally." And then the UFO comes really close, stops, and it beamed out a hologram of a skull. And at the time in my dream, I'm like, it was like a wah, wah, wah. I was expecting some being or some like angelic thing or something to come out. And it was like a skull. And I'm like, why is there a skull there? What does this mean? And then I think my wife actually woke me up, because I was talking in my sleep, actually. They're like, yes, here it is. Other than that experience, which happened just a month before actually meeting the Mitchell Hedges skull, or a couple weeks, and I sort of made that connection when I was in the Bashar session. But I since then, going through, spending months on the road with the skull, I have not actually felt anything. I've been just sort of intentionally. Bill's offered many times, "Why don't you sit with the skull?" I'm like, when the documentary's done, I'll do that. But until then, I want to remain neutral and just catch what the film catches, and not really put my own projections on it at all. So it's kind of as a neutral eye. I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And my thing, I just looked into its face, and I just watched. I'm not saying this is what's weird. I'm not saying that the skull like changed colors in front of me and lit up. I'm not suggesting that, but it did in my own way, right? And I just remember backing off. And it was clear, and I was like, okay, what, but then you just look at it, and then you start to, you relax yourself, right? You relax your eyes, you relax your senses, you do all of that. And then you take another look, and you see it's got a hemisphere. There's two sides inside of that perfectly clear crystal skull. Perfectly clear. It's just perfect. Well, anyway, okay. So back to the series.
Yes.
What is I mentioned to you earlier in looking at the trailer that the production value, which was always great in season 1 and season 2, and I love that, but it looks like you've kicked it up a notch. Now, is this ongoing production? Is there some stuff that you've shot over the years that is a part of this, or is this a new approach?
It's new. I started the series in 2014, And it was just my own little pet project. Again, just exploring after the citizen hearing. I wanted to put together more pieces of this cosmic puzzle and try to figure out what's going on here. And I found Wendy Kennedy, Nora Harold, Daryl Anka. They all used to come to our Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month, ET meetup groups we had at my old motion capture studio in the marina. And I got to talking to Wendy one night, and she was telling me about her experiences. And I didn't know much about the phenomenon of channeling. I had a little bit of background, but I didn't really know too much. And Wendy was telling me about her experiences. She says, well, she channels a group called the Palladians. And we were talking about the abduction phenomenon. And she said, what's really sparked my interest was she said what they told her, or what she, through her experience, that it's a soul contract. And I had been investigating the abduction phenomenon at that time pretty extensively. I'd done many interviews with experiencers, people who've been taken aboard ships. I was hanging out at Yvonne Smith's regression groups and therapy groups, and trying to understand the phenomenon. And when she said that, it was like a light bulb that went off. And I was very curious, and I said, okay, well, can I talk to these beings? Is there a way we can communicate? And she said, yeah, sure. I do this channeling. And then Nora Harold, who's also a channeler, they channel together sometimes. She also channels a different Palladian group, but I was talking to them both, and of course, later I discovered that Daryl was doing this with this entity named Bashar, and it was just this big eye-opening experience for me at the time, because it seemed like everything that they were saying had fit perfectly. With this like a glove with all the other information I had been gathering on the subject matter, the evidence-based stuff, the citizen hearing, what these people were saying. And these experiencers, and the big questions that we wanted to ask were like, why is this happening? What's going on? What is, humanity doing here? What's our role in all of this? And I found I could ask these questions, and the answers I was getting fit. Now, was there any way to prove it? Not necessarily, but with all the other evidence I had been collecting, it seemed very rational. It seemed like the most logical explanations for these questions that I had, as far as like what's going on here, and what are we doing? Where's humanity headed? What is all of this? And so the more I dove into these interviews, the more details, the more just the more things fit, and the more understanding I had of not only our reality, but some of the agendas and different things going on. And again, is there a way to prove it? Not right now.
Well, let me ask you, did you approach all of this? I mean, even like with Bashar and Daryl, who we all love, he's a great guy. But did you approach it as a skeptic? Right? I mean, were you just all in, or?
Well, a little in the beginning. I was definitely a skeptic, and after a handful of these interviews, then I approached it as I was already in. So, and what I found is, if I came at it from this all-in angle, I could go much deeper. I could continue to go. Whether again, if is that real or unreal or whatever, but I found if I came at it from, okay, already I believe in ETs, because I already had all the evidence and talked to all the military folks and everything else, and then I started understanding the world as far as quantum physics, simulation theory, holographic universe theory, electric universe theory, and these other studies that I had sort of already studied on the side. Mm-hmm. So I came at it from that perspective, and so I was already all in on that from that angle. And then So the answers I was getting, I was like, okay, multiple timelines, different agendas, different groups we could go, or different timelines that we could go on, and it could be this, it could be that. And when you start looking at it from that perspective, everything kind of fits, and it fits in the sense that anything is possible. Like, we literally are in an infinite reality, and everybody's sort of creating it at the same time. But what the tools that they were giving me, this is what really, over the years, why I've stuck with it for so long, and I continue to, I'm on a season 3 now, is because throughout the series, they have, these interviews have revealed, and these beings have been giving me tool sets, ways of thinking, ways of perceiving reality, certain nuggets to focus on. And I've integrated a lot of those things into my life, and it really has, personally, I have seen a very positive change in my experience of reality. Whether that's real or not, I think at this point, it doesn't matter, because my life and how I view and experience life is much better than before. And I know this sounds almost kind of religious in a sense, but there's just certain perspectives. It's almost like, a lot of stuff that's coming through the show, what they're saying is it's in line with something like Tony Robbins or Bruce Lipton or many of our, positive thinking type of people who are giving these messages to help us break free of, depression and these other things. They also match with indigenous teachings from around the world.
Now, is there, when you look at, is there a clear definition of an extra dimensional? I mean, what we're talking about, Daryl and Bashar, he's channeling Bashar. So Bashar, in this case, is the extra dimensional, right? I want the audience to kind of understand what we are talking about.
Right. So actually, when I was interviewing Wendy and the Palladians, it actually came through at that time. So the original name of the show in 2014, when I did the first interview, I was thinking of calling this, it was going to be a feature film project, and I was going to call it Interview with E.T., Extraterrestrial. And it was the Palladians that said, well, perhaps you might want to rename it as Extra Dimensional. That might be a more accurate term for who we are or what we are. As your guys' understanding evolves, and you understand multiple dimensions, multiple multiverse, simulation theory, these types of things, the extra dimensional term is probably a more accurate application for who they are. And so I was like, oh, I like that. It sounds like Ed, Ed sounds like a dude. I'll just call it Interview with Ed, and then that'll be short for Extra Dimensionals. And that sort of just stuck from the very beginning, and I've kept going with that. And I like that, especially for season 3, because we're expanding way beyond our perception of what the traditional extraterrestrial is, like the Pleiades or we have these ideas of reptilians and draconians and Zeta Reticuli, and these are all sort of out in the universe somewhere, extraterrestrials. But for season 3, I really go into inner earth beings, elementals, Sasquatch. We're going to touch upon that. Crystal skulls. These are all multi-dimensional facets or aspects of our reality that tiptoe into the extraterrestrial realms. But I think they're all sort of, you can put it all into that realm, especially when we're talking about beings traversing space-time, traveling faster than the speed of light. They only can do that if it's coming from another dimensional realm, in my opinion. I think that's just, when you understand space-time, that's kind of how it works.
I've tried to understand space-time. It's really funny. When you listen to physicists describe it, everything's a little bit different. I think if you take a look at the way Einstein approached it, and when I thought that I had a grasp of it, then I get Bashar, explaining to me what space-time is and what time is. And I'm just like, man, I'm completely lost here. But Bashar's explanation of space-time and time travel, which I've listened to over and over again. I've talked to Daryl about this so many times now. It was like the clearest explanation. It was complicated, but it was like the clearest explanation I have ever heard. And that makes as much sense to me as any of the hard sciences as they try to approach it. Yeah,
they're very, there's many scientists who actually have sessions with Daryl to get scientific information. I talked about that in my interview. So there's obviously, if that's happening, there's something, there's something these people are tapping into. And Daryl, the beauty with Daryl is he has such a very, his vocabulary is so expansive, especially when it comes to scientific terminology. So when he channels Bashar, he can actually use that vocabulary to convey complex ideas in scientific concepts in a clear and concise way that I think it's a little bit harder for some other people that don't have that scientific background to convey. So the idea of channeling extra-dimensional beings, all of this stuff, crazy, weird stuff, I always break it down to the simplest, for me to understand it is, I go back to Nikola Tesla's quote, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. And when everything is vibrating, including thoughts, including emotions, and including belief structures, and if you can look at those as well as our physical universe from a frequency and vibration state, then it's a little bit easier to navigate, because then you can get to the archetypal nature of what everything is in our universe, and then you can navigate toward different things, what your preference is, and what you like, based on the frequency and the vibration.
You know what's, and we're going to continue this after the break. This is what I find most interesting, is that when I hear somebody say something which I find ridiculous, well, E.T., with this vast knowledge, they're going to spend all of this, and they're going to get here and they're going to crash their flying saucer. They don't. Right. And my immediate response to that is, look where we are now. We're talking about warp drives, and we're thinking about faster than the speed of light, and we're starting to get outside of the box in these concepts and think about these things. That's where we are now. I don't know where we're going to be in 1,000 years, but we're not going to be lighting candles on the end of steel tubes to get off of planet Earth, right? And E.T., no matter what you think, because of our knowledge we have today, has figured it all out. They are on a whole nother concept. It is vibration. It is frequencies. They are not traveling around at the speed of light in spaceships. They're way beyond that, and we'll get there, but we just don't have an idea of what that could be and where they would. If they're 1 billion years in front of us, 1 million years, 10,000 years, right? They are into another level of knowledge that we just don't have yet. We can fantasize about it, but we don't get it. With that, let's take a break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Reuben Langdon. When we come back, the series, Season 3, Interview with Edie, Interview with Ed, premieres tomorrow. We'll talk about all of that next. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Reuben Langdon is here. What a great conversation so far. Season 3 of Interview with Ed, the Extraterrestrial, choose what you want, is premiering tomorrow, and it's on Vimeo on demand. Right, Reuben? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so originally, as I was saying, I started this series in 2014, and I started off just self-releasing it on Vimeo. And then it was a couple years into it, and then Gaia actually picked up the show and had it on their network. They sort of took all the episodes up into that time and packaged it as a season 1. And soon it became one of the most popular shows on Gaia. To my surprise, I was like, my little show, how is that possible? And they requested a season 2, and we started releasing those episodes just when COVID hit last year. And as they were coming out, I was getting the audience grew even more. And every day I still to this day, I get emails and requests for season 3. And I reached out to Gaia, sort of asking him, said, hey, what's going on? Did you guys want a season 3? Where are we at? And I think just they never really got back to me because I think just COVID threw everybody for a spin. And because of just the constant outpour of when's season 3 coming? So I started working on it right away, and I kind of waited a little bit, and I didn't hear anything back. So I decided to go ahead and release it on Vimeo first here, and then we'll see. I haven't gotten any confirmations from Gaia, but I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that once they see this updated version, like you were saying, yes, the production value, we're in 4K now. It definitely, I'm not really recycling much of the old stuff. I've just kind of rebranded and repackaged it and made it look super slick and pretty. I learned a lot over the years, made a lot of mistakes. So I'm hoping that they'll come back, or somebody else may want it. Who knows? But for now, it's just going to be on Vimeo.
And how many episodes?
I think we're going to try to get another 25 or so episodes. It's still in. The difference is when we did the release with Gaia, is I went ahead and I did 25 episodes for season 2, and then they released them after that. All the episodes were done. I've filmed all the episodes except for maybe 2. I've got 2 slated I still need to film, but I'm editing as I'm going along. So I've only got the first actually 3 episodes edited right now, and I'm gonna try to do probably a monthly release or a bi-weekly release, or like 2 episodes per month. I think that'll be kind of the average.
That's
of what
insane.
We do.
You know, that's insane. Oh man!
But my partner Steve and I, we're
great.
Doing that.
He's great.
Simultaneously with the Skull film project that we're doing. So we're in it deep.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you. You said the motion capture studio in that was off of Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You came to a couple of our gaps.
Yeah. That what a great facility. That was a lot of fun. Anyway, that was just I meant to ask you about that earlier. So everything is in the can. So I'm assuming if you've got 2 more to shoot, but you've got 22, 23 episodes shot.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Did you go out on location for each one of these?
All of them are on location. Yep. They so spent a lot of time in Shasta this season. We did a number of episodes up there. I interviewed Sarah Adams and talked to Adama from Telos.
Yep.
I don't know if you're familiar with the lore there. So we get to understand the inner Earth beings, the Lemuria stories. It connects with the Crystal Skull in Atlantis, and a lot of people who were having interactions with the skull would remember times when they had lives in Atlantis, and they remember the fall of Atlantis. And so a lot of the history, we're sort of retelling our history, or rediscovering this lost history that's been talked about through ancient texts and things. But it's really fascinating to film and see people have these images when they're interacting with the skull, and they're remembering these situations. And again, going back to the frequency and vibration, I think now that's at this turning point in our evolution, we are in a very similar vibration or frequency to that time of the fall of Atlantis, and we're revisiting a lot of the issues that caused the fall, and hoping that we don't completely destroy ourselves again and go into that craziness.
Now, how did and are you following the story? I mean, did you plan it to go into this just organic?
It's all organic. It's just unfolding. One thing I've learned from the series is to pay attention to synchronicities.
Yep.
And I would, when somebody mentions this, or if I get a phone call, or, hey, go investigate that, I'll, can't pay attention to everything because there's a lot of stuff out there. But, what resonates for me, and I'm like, okay, I'm being drawn to this, for example, the skull stuff. And it's just fascinating. I think I absolutely believe there is a higher intelligence beyond this meat body Reuben that is definitely guiding me on this path to tell these stories. One, I'm fascinated. The meat body Reuben is fascinated with uncovering and discovering these ancient stories, our extraterrestrial, our extradimensional cosmic families and connections. But a lot of it you can't make up. I mean, some of the stuff we've experienced on this trip with the skull and the synchronicities with the different groups that I've been interviewing for the series, going from different locations, energetic ley lines that we would just sort of happen upon in my waking life. I'm like, oh, we're here now. We're like going to Sedona or Chaco Canyon and Mount Shasta and these different energetic spots. And then the people we meet and just by randomness, it would seem, but I think there's definitely a guided mission here that I'm on.
And this guided mission, this season 3, is this the Earthbound season, right? Not necessarily, right?
It seems to be, yeah. I didn't actually have that intention going into it, but as I was doing these interviews and the stories were unfolding and the different beings I would connect with, and absolutely, it's why sort of in my little promo, I said, we're going inside. Instead of going out there to the galaxy and these cosmic families, it's more about connecting into what's already here, what's just behind the veil through this wall, but it's here on Earth, the inner Earth beings, the indigenous teachings and wisdoms where they're connecting to, like I mentioned, Sasquatch or other elementals or other Pachamama from the ayahuasca stuff, and these things are all right here in our dream time.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because when we talk about this ceremony, right, and you go through ayahuasca, and you then are exposed to another dimension or a parallel world, whatever your definition is. But clearly it is not our time and space, right? You are exposed to another dimension, which I think physics and science really needs to investigate in a laboratory setting what is going on with ayahuasca, because of everybody's experiences are clearly similar. And people that are not speaking to each other, but is that when you get into channeling and connecting with the past history and Atlantis and everything else, does the ceremony suggest that all of this is possible?
Well, definitely the ceremonies that I've been in have shown me things that you would not think would be possible, but they are. Telepathic communication, experiencing similar realms that with people that you don't even know, or you just met like hours prior, and then sharing the next morning, you're like, oh yeah, I was there too, and I saw the same things. And that's with the that plant medicine specifically, but there's a whole realm of similar type experiences from without just the plant medicine.
Right.
So there's many, for example, talking with Clifford Mahoney about Lemuria and how many of the indigenous, through the stories that how they came from Lemuria, the Mayan, perhaps it suggested that they came from this ancient island or a group of islands called Lemuria. And then we have the testimony coming from people who are interacting with the scholar, talking about Atlantis and how Atlantis, I always thought Lemuria and Atlantis were separate, but now I'm finding out that perhaps they were, and this is just my interpretation, but perhaps they existed at the same time. And they were just different, like maybe Atlantis was a city, and then Lemuria was more the outskirts. And then when the Atlanteans fell, the Lemurians went into the caves and hung out, and then they came out after the flood and started rebuilding reality. I don't know, this is some of the stuff that's coming out, and again, these are just my interpretations.
I've had the same experience, and this is what I think is important, and I'm wondering if you went through the same thing. that once you get into this little culture of ours, and you know maybe UFOs brought you here, right?
Right.
You will eventually, in your research and everything else, you start getting into lost history and Lemuria and Atlantis and cultures and things and ancient civilization, high tech. But you get exposed and you learn more and more when you weren't into this at all in the past. And then once you get into it, I started to do the same thing, Reuben, that I think Lemuria and Atlantis, the folklore, right, the mythology behind it are too similar. And so I started to see them as not separate, but the same place. I don't know if it's in the Pacific. I don't know if it's in the Atlantic Ocean. I don't know if it was a continent that just completely disappeared. Maybe it was where the United States were. I don't know. But but I see the similarities between the two, and I now equate them as being possibly the same.
Yeah, there's the definitely the UFO subject matter is a gateway drug.
It's a total gateway drug. Total. Did you have any knowledge of Lemuria 10 years ago?
No, not at all. I had no idea. I think I had heard of Atlantis, Lemuria. I didn't even know what that was. I think you hear in our entertainment world, and that it seems to be, it comes up a lot, and then Plato's writings, and then apparently on the Egyptian, some of the Egyptian texts talk about Atlantis, lost city of Atlantis,
in Edfu,
right?
Yeah.
So there's and then all the great research that's continuing for researchers like Billy, who you had on yesterday, and others that are continuing to bring this new information, new discoveries of old information. Which is just fascinating. And I'm finding that all of these dots are connecting. This is what's so fascinating with my show is me having, I feel like I've got, next to you, Jimmy, I've got the best job in the world, to go and interview these people. You get to do it nightly. I do it, a little, not as often.
You want to swap gigs? I'll take yours anytime. You got the fun gig, but so as you're learning and doing these interviews and shooting these episodes, what are you finding with civilizations and those teachers and how they became transoceanic, where it could possibly have influence not only here in Central and South America, but Egypt and Mesopotamia and different China and Japan. Have you found that is probably what has happened?
Yeah. So what seems to be sort of the I'll put it through my filter of getting all this information is there's a cycle that happens every 13,000 years or so, where civilization, it's some of the channelings they talk about as like the male and female, like it's a pulse, and these cycles it's like an in breath and an out breath, and we went down in an octave, so to say, in a frequency. This last 13,000 year cycle where civilization fell, the earth needed to reset. Civilization got to this high point, and then it was decided at that point that civilization couldn't continue the way it would, and it was time to hit the reset button. So that's when a flood was called in, an asteroid or some kind of cataclysmic event, perhaps going through a certain space time, the precession of the equinox. We have all of this physical data now that shows Earth had some kind of major cataclysmic event about 12,000, almost 13,000 years ago, and a pole shift. Perhaps the electromagnetic field got weak enough so an asteroid could get through. Who knows exactly? There's still a lot of different theories out there, but something happened where we went into a fall and we had to hit the reset button. And at that time, civilization, humanity would forget where they came from, and they slowly started coming out of the caves and out of the their hideouts to survive that rough period of time, however long it lasted. It may have only been a few days or nights or months, and now we're remembering, we're going through the cycle, we're recreating civilization, we're building up technological advancements, and supposedly we're at this time now where we're going to be in that energy again. But everything that I'm being told through these interviews is that we're not going to fall again. This is actually, we've sort of gone over the hump. 2012 was a big marker point to see if we were going to go down another octave again or go up in the frequency. And they all say, it's all the interviews I've done so far, they all say we're going up. We've graduated, but we still have to physically go through all of the experience. But energetically and vibratorily, we're going into the age of Aquarius, or this new age where we will thrive as a civilization and become intergalactic and interact with our other cosmic family. And that's one of the reasons why there are so many lights in the sky these days. Is they're ready, they're prepared, they're ready for us to welcome us into this new era where we are going to interact. Humanity is going to become, as I think Bashar, somebody said, Homo Galactus is the title,
right?
That was given to us. But whatever title you choose, I do think it does seem that way with all this evidence that we're also seeing. Obviously all the videos Jeremy's been dropping and talking with him, he doesn't necessarily share all the same beliefs that I do, but he's been telling me that the videos have been dropping like crazy. Like a lot of people have the rate at which people are filming things and sending to him is just off the charts. So there's a ramp up of activity for sure, compared to the past few years. Or I should say, let's say 10 years. This last 3 years or so is really, things have been amped up as far as actual physical sightings. I think the military and what they're experiencing seems to be ramping up too. So that matches the story. That matches this bigger picture story that's coming through these channeled interviews.
Now, with these revelations with UFOs and UAPs, Jeremy's videos aside, let's put those to the side. There's a lot of evidence right now that is causing people to have a conversation, and it's a lot for the world to handle. But if it goes to the next level, Reuben, where hidden history and lost history that has been suppressed is suddenly revealed, that Atlantis is real, right? It's one thing for academia. You can't say the one A word, aliens, right? You're not allowed to do that in academia. Well, there's another A word. That's Atlantis, right? And if this, right, I'm talking about, we will have a 26,000 year cycle happen early. We will have another pole shift. I mean, that's going to be dramatic. I mean, can the world handle something like that?
I think it can. I think right now, before we get to that, though, as Lou was saying earlier, we are in this slow turning boat. And I think that's a good thing, because we have to, there's a lot of nasty things in the world that have been going on for a long time that we expose, that are being exposed right now, that are coming to the surface. And that's, humanity's shadow, the darkness. And it's always been there. It's just been hiding in the shadows. But now as we're moving into this next octave, this higher frequency and this higher vibration, in a sense, we're shining the light on a lot of that stuff. And we're able to see it now, collectively. We couldn't, because we were at this lower octave, and everything could kind of blend in and just kind of stay hidden. So I think what we're seeing with all this chaos and all this chaotic energy that we're experiencing politically, economically, all of it. There's a lot of silliness, people calling names and all this stuff. And that's coming to the surface so we can see it, process it, and then get to the next level, because we can't take that stuff with us. You can't, like you just said, we can't start interacting with extra-dimensional beings, or people are going to lose their minds. They're going to go crazy. And in a sense, they kind of are right now, but we're not even there yet. But I think we're going to get to a point where we work out all these kinks in our current matrix, and then we can get to a safe place where we can have that conversation on a more expansive level. And with the UAP drop that happened last week, these are just little feelers, little nuggets that are preparing people for the next conversation, That's my take.
We'll continue the conversation after the break, but I wanted to ask you before the break. This is from Corey. Corey says, is Stellar Drone's music still being used on the show?
For season 3, we might use some, but I have a new composer. His name's Zach Myers. He was actually a fan of the show and reached out, and then turns out he's this amazing musician, and he did the trailer, the opening sequence music, and he's scoring all of season 3 using the Fibonacci sequence. So he's found out a mathematical formula to create really awesome music. In the past, Fibonacci sequence music has been kind of choppy and sounded weird. He's made this beautiful mathematical music that will be used in all of season 3. So unfortunately, we may use a little bit of Stellar Drone here and there, but I couldn't have done season 1 and 2 without Stellar Drone, but and big thanks to them. But we're moving into another sector with Zach and his music.
Yeah, it's so funny how and thank you for that question, Corey. In that, when you have a fan, right, or fans, and that are into it, they're into all of it, right? Yeah. It's the music, it's the production, it's the content, it's everything else. But it's just so funny, man. Well, what about Stellar Drone? They are fans.
Yep. Absolutely, and I appreciate it. And we'll definitely work in that same vein or that vibe of Stellar Drone, and we're going to take it to the next level.
Okay, you're being kind, Corey. No Stellar Drone season 3. But don't let that distract you. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Reuben Langdon. We're talking about tomorrow's premiere of season 3, Interview with ED, Extra-Dimensionals. You can call him Ed. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon.
Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit unitedgoldgroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Reuben Langdon is here. The premiere for Interview with Ed is tomorrow. It's on Vimeo On Demand. We've got all of the links up at jimmychurchradio.com. We've got them also in the throughout social media. Now, you brought up something I want to get back to, Reuben, during the break, that we had to get to some chaos, right? We had to experience some chaos. I have never experienced the flame out anger and hate that social media has brought out from everybody. And it happens so quickly. And I equate it to this. I don't think some of the things that are said in social media that these people would say it to your face, or they would say it in your home, or if you went to their home, they would act like that. But in social media, there seems to be this unwritten rule where it's okay, to be a dick. You know what I'm saying, right? And it's this anger, this hatred to friends and family and coworkers and people you've never even met. Is that part of what you're talking about? You have to get to this entropy, right? This blow up.
It is. I think what's happened is we're all experiencing this this change, this shift, this energy. It's talked about. Wendy Kennedy and the Palladians talk about this. We're going through this place and space and time where this is part of this cyclical part of the galaxy or the universe where Earth and our solar system is going through this area where we're getting hit by specific photonic energy. Whether you can prove this with science or not, I don't know, but it seems to make sense that there's something happening to us on a physical, molecular level. We're shifting. We're having to let go of old paradigms and old ways that don't serve us. And for generations, we've been attached to these types of ways of thinking. So what happens is there's reluctance or resistance to change. And that's, human. I mean, whenever anybody, if they have to get up and move or do something different out of their normal routine, it's not always, most of the time people don't like it, even if it's for their better good. They're going to, complain or create some sort of friction or something, or even relationships. You got to move on. You got to get out of an old relationship that may not be working more, and it's always tough. So I think what's happening is we're shifting. Things are moving. We're moving into this new reality, and there's resistance. There's resistance in our economical systems. I mean, obviously, to me, it's quite clear that we're moving into a decentralized, cryptocurrency way. With the recent news in El Salvador and the adoption of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, I think we're moving away from a centralized control mechanism. And what you can say, what comes first before the chicken or the egg? Are we moving that direction because these centralized agencies are putting more pressure on us and censorship and all this other stuff? So we're moving to a decentralized way, or is it just a natural evolution to these decentralized ways? And then the knee-jerk reaction from these centralized sources are to put the hammer down even harder. I think it's a bit of both. But I think the natural evolution of humanity in a positive way is we're all becoming our own sovereign being. We're all understanding that in order to move into this new energy, we have to be independent and sovereign and not depend on, we can depend on each other for certain things, but overall, the world has become too dependent on certain power structures that may not be in the best interest for humanity's evolution. And we're waking up to that. We're realizing that, and we're moving into a new spaces, new different ways of doing things, and that's creating chaos, or vice versa. We're getting chaos, so we have to move into these other ways to get out, to break free of these things. There's different ways to look at it, but there's no doubt in my mind that we are going through a lot of turmoil and change, and there's certain factions that want to keep the old control mechanisms underway, and there's certain groups and people who, and I think most of us, probably most of your listeners, would agree that we don't want to be under any type of heavy control mechanisms. We want to stick with our freedoms and our liberties and move into these new ways of doing things that create the freedom and diversity for each of us to survive and thrive as an individual.
I don't know I don't know how we make the transition. I don't know. This is how I look at it. I know that we have to, in the dark, go up to the edge of the cliff and stick your foot out and feel the edge of the cliff and know where it's at and kind of take a peek. That's where we are. We've got to, we've got to see how bad it can be, so we have a barometer. All right. No, I understand that part. I understand, but to make a transition of everything can't happen overnight. Our roads still need to be paved. Our bridges need to be built. Our electricity we need to feed everybody. We have to have a logistical way of distribution. We have water to think about, right? We have all of and you just can't go into a sovereign thing without having the logistics overall to maintain 7.5 billion people, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, what, we have to go with no roads and no phones and no electricity for 50 years until we figure. I don't know how ET does it, right? That's where we need the answer.
Well, I think one of the reasons we're experiencing, I think one of the, at least through my interviews, one of the big things that's going to come through the disclosure process of the ETs is the free energy aspect.
Right.
And alternative energies. That, going back to the ET thing, that are a gateway drug into that reality, into the technological advancements that seem to, we all, anybody who's been in the field studying this, we all know that the technology aspects are through the roof. Beyond anything that sort of the normal layperson who hasn't investigated this stuff could even imagine. But before we can get there, we have to have a certain type of, let's say, responsibility or awareness or handling of that technology, because in the wrong hands, that technology, could do some damage. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's kept from the public.
100%. There's no, that part of it is what scares me the most. And then there's the other part. Let's say tomorrow, this is free energy. This is it. It's here. We can now power the farms around the world. We can feed right? All of the tractors, all of the trucks, all of the cars, all of the planes, all of the ships don't run on free energy. So suddenly we have to have an entire manufacturing sector to come in and rebuild everything. Your car in your driveway is now worthless. So are all of the planes at LAX.
Unless it's electric.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I do. And I think that's what we're doing. I think we're transitioning. I think, it's no coincidence that Tesla is the highest selling automobile past 2 years, with more beating out, just Tesla in America alone sold more cars than all the Japanese cars combined, all the Japanese car companies combined. We're moving into an electric grid or electric reality. We're building out that infrastructure now. It's on pedal to the metal to get it is built as fast as possible. Once we're on an electrical system, then free energy devices, I think, then can be released in a safe and easy way. And I think a lot of things are happening simultaneously where we're moving towards that direction. And going back to the cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies and tracking, our current energy production through solar energy or wind or whatever, but we're able to now track and see where this energy is going and being used, and then incentivizing. And it's my understanding from my research that what's coming soon is we will, once these tracking mechanisms can be put into place, we can then incentivize people to make that shift. So there's a positive. For example, you might get rewarded in Bitcoin for having production of your own solar energy, or then any offspill of that, or any extra energy that you produce, you get rewarded in Bitcoin, which then incentivizes people for making a shift into these new paradigms, as opposed to, hoping that you get some sort of tax credits from the government, and then they go back on their they say this year, oh, you're going to get this much, but then 5 years later, well, we're not going to give you anything now. Or in fact, we're going to penalize you for having solar panels. Like that's the paradigm we've been under. But now I think we're with blockchain and with crypto, we're getting a whole new set of cards dealt to us to move into these new arenas. But again, there's resistance. It's slow adoption. This year, actually, this past couple of months, adoption of Bitcoin has been phenomenal throughout the world.
Can I ask you a question? Is that a UFO lamp?
It is a UFO lamp.
Can you pull it out? Yes, that's the one that I want.
They're pretty cool.
Oh man! And that flying saucer's just floating.
It's just floating. Yeah, you can see it there. I can get it spinning.
Oh man! Hold on. I'm gonna take a picture of this. I've always so it's just as cool as the internet says it is. There it is, right there.
Let's see, that's about as far as I can get. It still has to be plugged in. Oh, there it goes. See, I lost it. You gotta.
Let me see the flying saucer. Hold it up to the camera. Oh, dude.
It looks like the sports model.
Yeah, that is... Dude, hold on. Hold it right there. Hold on. I got to take a picture of that. Everybody's got to see what I'm talking about. Man, that is too cool, man. I'll post the pictures, everybody. But he's got the floating UFO lamp with the flying saucer on the top. And
it's a speaker, too. You can put
it's a Bluetooth speaker. Yeah, man, that is cool.
Pretty poor quality, but anyways, it'll take me a while to balance it.
I just made him break his lamp, but I've been staring at it. I haven't been looking at you. I've been looking at the lamp, man.
All right.
That's the lamp that I want. It's the lamp that I want. Now, is there a way? And I know it's been referenced somewhat, but is there a way to discuss these topics with those channelers out there? You know, what is the economic system with ET? What is the electrical grid? How are they powering? You know, these are answers that we are right on the edge of all of this. We need this information.
I've asked these in the show, and it depends. It depends on the evolutionary cycle of each civilization at different levels. But let's say one of the channelers I've had on multiple seasons, and back in third season is Lisa Royale. She channels a being called Sasha, a Palladian being that's in fourth density consciousness. So a few thousand years more evolved than we are, but they're closer in their evolutionary cycle to us than some of these other bigger collective consciousnesses. And it's funny because back in my interview with her in 2015, I said, well, what was the trigger for the Pallades to go into fourth density consciousness, into the level they are now? And they actually said a virus. In 2014, they said a virus came in, caused havoc in their society, which then made them go inward. Sound familiar? To then go and figure out what parts of their society and culture that they weren't looking at, and it took a long time for them to figure it out, and a lot of deaths and a lot of chaos, and eventually they figured it out, and they were able to get in there, having no idea that we were actually going to go through the same thing. I think the way it's explained is we're going through it at a much less level. They went through it. We're experiencing it not as severely as they did in their civilization, but that was one of the key evolutionary jumps, things that helped them move along.
Now, I'm assuming you have all of that documented. That sounds like that sounds
season
like
1.
Extras. We need the clips, but. At the beginning of the pandemic and a couple of months in, I had said, and I don't want to poo-poo on the woo-woo. I don't want to do that. But okay. I had said, where are all of the psychics and the prophets and the people that look at the future and make predictions and astrologers? And the biggest moment in human history is going down right now. The whole planet is shut down. Nobody predicted this in 2019. Nobody said anything in 2000. How is that possible that all of the charts and all of the information and everything that is out there and all of the guests and all of these shows missed this?
Well, actually, in my show with Lee Harris, who I interviewed just before the pandemic, and the being the Z's that come through, they actually said, hang on, guys, because things are about to get really rough for the next 7 to 9 years. And at the time, I just was like, I couldn't imagine things rougher than they already were. This was in 2019. I kind of thought, was it 2019? Yeah, late 2019. You already think of the world. You don't think of it getting any worse than it is. You look at all the issues going on. But he said, they said that was going to be coming, to get ready. So if you look at my series, if you look at it in order, it's not specifics, but just like taking a pulse on society and where things are at. There's definitely, it's interesting that Sasha and the Pleiades mentioned the virus that they went through. They didn't say we were going to go through that, but then the Z saying, we in our society are going to go through some rough times for the next 7 to 9 years. And that was in 2019. So we still got a few more bumpy years ahead of us, if that's correct.
Now, I have to ask you, then we're going to go to overtime after the break. Putting Bashar and putting Daryl to the side, all right? He's very special. Okay, just put him to... Do you have a favorite channeler?
Oh, man. The other channels would probably kill me if I say anything. I love them all because, and I'll tell you.
Don't be political. Don't be political, Reuben.
I do have a favorite, but before I go into the favorite, let me just quickly say.
I've never seen you nervous. Man, you're like I love it.
What I find fascinating is all of these different channelers and they're connecting to those different consciousnesses and they're coming through and however you want to look at it, if it's a part of their subconscious or superconscious or this bigger consciousness of our Earth or whatever it is, they all have a similar, there's the basis is the same. And I love going through it because I may resonate with, different ideas and I'm a big fan of Daryl and Bashar. But what's fun is to see how different these individual people are and how different these energies that they're bringing in, but yet how similar the basic tools that they're giving us, the basic, I say, tools of how to perceive reality, it's all the same. And it's really, after you get through those basics, it's really about what flavor. It's like you get your ice cream and it's vanilla, and that's all they have, the ice cream shop has. But then you get to sprinkle all your toppings. And each channeler and each being that's coming through, it's like, what topping you want? And then it's going to change a little bit. It's going to change the taste. But at the core, it's all vanilla ice cream. That's just what you're going to get. So with that said, I think my favorite, the one I keep resonate with the most, that I keep revisiting is Lisa Royale. And she's been channeling for 30 years. Actually, her and Daryl actually started, they were in the same channeling class together.
I know, it's a great story. Yeah.
But Lisa's amazing, and we have a strong connection because she also spends a lot of time, half the year she spends in Japan, not this past year because of COVID, but I've spent a good portion of my life in Japan. I worked and lived there. My wife's Japanese. There's a resonance there that we can joke around with, and there's a group of people both in Japan and the States. So I think just having that connection, the Japan connection, and then her and her husband Ron, they're just good people, and we love hanging out and talking and sharing the woo woo.
Yeah, she's amazing. There's no question about it. And there's one of the things I appreciate about Daryl, and we're going to jump into some other channelers after the break. Daryl doesn't sound, Bashar, I should say, doesn't sound like other channelers. Even Jane Roberts, right? I mean, it's right. He's got this thing that every time that I've seen and met and talked to Bashar, I walk away going, man, you know what? That bleep is real, right? Yeah, I'm being serious too. You walk away from that, and that is, you can be the most skeptical. I would love to have Michael Shermer sit through a Bashar session and get his reaction after that.
It's wild. That was for me too. Bashar was definitely one of the first big influences, red pills,
big red pill,
and he's fun. He's funny. You can't take it don't take it too seriously. You just go in there. You get some good information. And I love the basic core message of Bashar is, take it or leave it. It doesn't matter. We're not trying to, twist your arm and make you believe that this is the gospel truth. This is just, if it resonates, take it. And that message I try to convey too through my whole entire series. Since the ice cream analogy, it's there's something there for everybody, and you don't have to resonate with each person, with each idea or concept. One of my favorite quotes from Bruce Lee is, take what is useful, disregard what is useless, and ultimately make whatever it is your own, whatever you do choose to use as your own. As a martial artist, that goes into, techniques and martial and styles and different forms of fighting arts, but it works with everything, anything in your life. If it's not working for you, let it go, move on to the next thing. And if it is working and creating positivity in your life, and which then reflects and creates positivity for other people that are around you, go with that. And as long as you're, creating positivity and not negativity, then absolutely, whatever works, whatever rocks your world, whatever woo-woo you want.
Yeah, I know. And there's speaking about Bashar, Lisa too, and I just mentioned Jane Roberts, who I want to talk about after the break. But there has to be a cable that is plugged in. There's something direct that is going on, because it's not the same voice. It's not even the same mind as Daryl. It's not the same vocabulary. You can sit with Daryl forever and talk, and you know who Daryl Anka is. And then something gets plugged in. He doesn't even say the word for 3 hours.
Right.
I'm not
what
joking.
I've noticed.
Yes.
Through all the channelers. There's no. It's just boom. It's so direct and so straight.
It's plugged in. Yeah.
And it's plugged in. That's what I find so, I guess, entertaining about. So that's why I'm not asking people to suspend their disbelief in the phenomenon. Go in with a skeptic eye, but also go in with an entertaining and curious eye. If anything, it's fascinating whether these people are tapping into an alien civilization, or if they're just tapping into a deep superconscious, subconscious
right
thing. That's still fascinating, and to watch that process and to see these people go through that process and how they experience it and the stories they share around that process. To me, it's fascinating. And personally, I've adopted many of those techniques and ideas. And like I said earlier, it really has helped me navigate my life in a positive way, creating positivity.
Yeah, there's when you sit and watch the audience with Bashar, right? And the technical, it's deep, right? I mean, it can go way deep into concepts and things that, and everybody's concentrating. And then Bashar will circle back and do like a 4-word joke. And everybody laughs at the same time. It's because they are completely focused and engaged, right? Yeah. He has not lost anybody. And I've just watched the audience and watched this go down. It's amazing. And you're right, though. The entertainment value alone is right. Up there, man. It's not an 11. It's like a 15. It's just totally. It's extraordinary. Let's take our break right here. Let's do some overtime with Reuben Langdon. The new series premieres tomorrow. It is season 3 of Interview with Ed, ED Dimensionals. I will be back after this short break. It's overtime with Reuben Langdon. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. We'll be right back.
Here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. We're going into overtime with Reuben Langdon, and this is when we kind of have some fun, Reuben. I'm going to give you a couple of updates. I don't know if you know this, but it was probably a year ago. Roxanne called into the show, just called in on open lines. Yeah, it was like, Jimmy, it's Roxanne. I'm like, man, what is up? And Swainhart, right? Nice. Yeah. She was.
Yep, Roxanne's great.
She's great. She's great. And by the way, so I posted the pictures of your UFO lamp. And
look at that right now.
Yeah, somebody says, forget the UFO lamp. What's up with the unicorn picture?
So yeah, this is a gift from a kids show I worked on for a couple of years. It was called Kickin' It. It was a Disney TV show about this martial arts school, and the school's name, it was kind of making fun of the Chuck Norris in his schools. So this is Bobby Wasabi, and for the show, I was the stunt coordinator for the show, and they actually had me put on this wig and mustache, and for the show, I was the young version of Bobby Wasabi, And at the end of the show, they did 4 seasons. And at the end, they're like, "Hey, Reuben," this was like on the wall of one of the episodes. And they're like, "Hey, Reuben, you want the unicorn thing?" And I was like, "Absolutely." That's like me riding a unicorn with like a Fu Manchu stash. Absolutely. So that's actually.
That's totally awesome. You know, one of my favorite movies. I'm gonna put it out there. I don't care what anybody says. Kung Pao. Enter the Fist.
Yes, it's one of my favorites.
Man. I watched it last month. Again, I've seen it so many times, right? I've got the DVD, I've got the extras, I've got all the making of. But
it's ridiculous.
It's so cool. So cool. All of it. There's not a bad scene in Concrete. So I've gone on the record. Now, when you go and experience, like Bashar, or for those that have read Seth Speaks, you can go. There's a lot of Jane Roberts out there, and you can go and listen to her. There's lots of tapes, and also there's some spectacular video and film stuff that was shot with her, and fascinating interviews with her. And the caliber, right? We're talking about the tippity top of channeling. Do you ever go through the experience? I'm not where you're with someone and you go, it's not working for me, right?
Yeah. I usually do a pretty good vetting process before if I'm going to be interviewing them, then I've probably already gone through enough videos and stuff to see if it's a resonance for me. There's only been, over the years, there's been 2 interviews that I kind of started and had to walk away from. Not because the energy that this person was bringing through was wrong or information. I just felt that perhaps the person themselves was not of the most integrity, or there might be some possibility of misrepresentation of that energy down the road. So this was when I was just starting. So there's only been a couple that I've actually gotten to that process where I did do the interviews, and then I was like, I'm not feeling this one. And it wasn't, again, because of the energy that they were channeling was off. It was more of their personal energy. And I just thought that I don't want to put my name on, anybody who I'm putting out there, I'm putting my name on it. So my name's on the line in a sense. So I vet everybody I'm putting out there. Now, I may not resonate with the message 100%, but the people, I want to make sure they're of integrity and that their message is good. So if they're going out there, then they've gone through the Reuben Langdon filter.
Yeah. And one of the I've gone back and listened to channelers from 10 years ago. I've listened to Bashar, the oldest stuff I can find, right? And I've listened to as much as I can. And it's timeless.
Yes.
There's a timeless aspect. And you go back and you listen to Jane Roberts, and you listen to the original Seth material, and that is as relevant today as when she was alive and doing it way back then, which is now 50 years ago. Right?
Absolutely.
And it seems like it's yesterday, but it's not. And there's a timeless aspect to it. It's going to hold water 100 or 200 years from now.
Absolutely. I was actually going back to sort of prepare for season 3. I went back and I re-edited season 1 and 2, and more season 1. I call it the director's cut, and I was putting some clips back in that I had taken out, and they're a little bit longer episodes. And just reviewing, what I had done it's been since 2014 now, so getting close to 10 years here, and everything in those old interviews from Wendy, from Nora, Rob Gauthier, they all are just so it's just still gold. It's like, I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm watching this to review, because there's still nuggets in there that actually make more sense now that I have this bigger picture view of reality. And after experiencing all these other channelers, it's like, oh, these are great. So yeah, it never gets old, even though they were filmed 2014, still relevant today.
What is the vetting process? I know everybody wants to hear the answer to this. I mean, it can't be easy.
Well, it for me it is, because it's just what am I drawn to? What is Reuben Langdon? What's in his, what sort of peanut butter is he eating this week? and what's the flavor of the week kind of thing? So I really just go with what I'm interested in, and like I said, this past season has been really going in deeper into the inner Earth stuff. I mean, not just inner Earth, but the Earth energies inside the dimensional realms just over the horizon. Where before, actually, if we back up to 2014, when I first started my interviews with Wendy and Nora, honestly, I was thinking extraterrestrials are real, but like mermaids, fairies, Bigfoot, all that stuff's just garbage. There's no such thing. Those are just people who believe in that stuff. They're crazy. And then here I go, I'm going through this process, and interview Nora, who actually channels a fairy, and then I'm talking to this fairy, and I'm like, what? It's real? How is this? Let me understand this a little bit better. And as I gained greater knowledge of the phenomenon of the constructs of reality, and then I started to see how it all does fit together. And if you can't throw one thing out, you kind of have. It's kind of all starts to merge in different flavors, but it's kind of the same phenomenon. This strange thing that we don't quite understand. It's going to take us probably forever to understand.
Well, now when we're talking about the inner Earth, let's get to some specifics here. I want to have some fun with this, but
sure.
It's one thing to understand the concepts of entanglement and what communication would be from an interdimensional being from another galaxy, right, or another star system. They're physically not here. Even Bashar is in a spaceship. He's not here. So but when we're talking about the inner Earth, are we talking about physical beings in the inner Earth that are being channeled in the communication, or the spirits of who used to be there?
The way I understand it is it's both. It is physical, but if we were, say, to go digging into Mount Shasta, we would not see anything at our sort of going back to this vibratory frequency level where we're at right now, or this lower density. Let's call it third density. If we were to take our bulldozers and stuff and start digging, we probably would just see nothing but rocks. But yet on this higher octave, on just slightly, we're right on this border right now where at the right frequency, the right mindset, the right individually or collectively, if a small group with the right intention, we're able to go hiking in the woods and perhaps be at the right frequency at the right time. Again, there's astrological, there's ley lines, there's all of these things that govern how these frequencies fluctuate, and the Schumann resonance, and there's a bunch of this stuff going on. Then perhaps, and this actually in season 3, I talked to somebody who was invited into the inner Earth and into Telos on a physical level. So on that level, they're real, but it's more of a dream state perhaps for us, and it may be perceived like in a meditative state or something like an ayahuasca experience where it's not really there, but we can perceive it if we are in a certain meditative state or something like that. So, from my understanding, these beings have the ability to go down an octave or two in their reality and appear in our reality. They have the technology, and that's how these beings a lot of the extraterrestrials, extradimensionals can show up in their craft, whether it's craft technology or they may show up in the forms of orbs or light bodies, and that's them shifting their frequency to try to match to our frequency, so we can have sort of a physical experience to a certain extent. And as we raise collectively our frequency of humanity, that's why the veil is getting thinner. More and more ETs are showing up, more and more experiences with these other beings that perhaps live at the bottom of the ocean or are in inner Earth will start to show up more and more, so we can have these interactions. It's kind of like the way it's been described to me is like a fish tank. We can, when you have the glass there and you can see into the fish tank and we can identify and see the details of the fish, perhaps that's what they're like. But if they were to go into the fish tank, if we were to go into the fish tank, we wouldn't be able to breathe. We wouldn't last very long, so we got to get out of there. And the fish themselves inside the tank can't really see what's behind the glass. It's just kind of a blur. It's a different world, and they kind of see something's over there, but it's not a true representation of what it actually is, because it's all blurred by the different light hitting the glass in a certain way and all this stuff.
The physical part of it, though, if that's the case, they have to be alive. There has to be a city. There has to be a system of government of some kind. Maybe they're dealing with Bitcoin. I don't know.
I think they're beyond the Bitcoin.
But it's a physical situation where it's not extra dimensional anymore.
Telos was described to me as it's sort of, it's they've got their own cities. They've got a full-on, Telos Shambhala, these different inner Earth civilizations have a lot of their technology is based on crystals. Seems to be they're able to utilize the crystal energy from the planet, and that's where they get light sources. It's where they get a lot of their energy for powering, creating food sources, but they do eat food like us. They also, because of their higher octave, they're able to interact with other civilizations. So there's a lot of spaceports that apparently these other dimensional beings kind of come and go and maybe hang out in these with these inner Earth beings. And so from our perspective, we may confuse them as extraterrestrials, perhaps, but they actually could be just living in a different octave.
Or in the same octave, for that matter. I mean...
Well, we're moving in. The octaves, from my understanding, is we're merging.
Right.
So we're getting to a point where that veil is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And eventually, this is why so many of them are so excited, is that we will be sort of rejoined with our cosmic family or our inner Earth family, or these extra dimensional realities will become more of a physical reality for us.
Is this what the indigenous cultures here in North America refer to as the ant people?
I think some of these beings are, yes. I think I think Telos is a different deal, but I think there's many inner civilization, smaller groups of civilizations on different octaves. They may not all be on the same octave, that indigenous cultures have interacted with in the past. Absolutely.
Now, Lou Elizondo, a couple of weeks ago on the show, or it might have been before. Anyway, Lou said, we keep referring to, and I keep hearing about, interstellar, not of this Earth, extraterrestrials, but some of this might be right here. Right? Living under the oceans and already here, they may have traveled from somewhere else to get here, but they're not traveling necessarily from somewhere else right now, that they may be already here.
Yep. That's what I've come to that conclusion. That's what from my interviews, that's what I feel is happening.
So when we hear about UFOs, right, UAPs, but there's also a lot of references out there to USOs, and craft that enter and leave the oceans and have been, witnessed so many times over the years. Would that be an example of, some of this travel that is going to some type of inner Earth or Telos situation?
I think very well that could be the case. Yes, that's my. I've come to that conclusion. It's a constant evolution how we perceive the phenomenon. But that's where all my research has led me to sort of believe that scenario.
Do you think that the Pentagon understands this?
No.
Oh.
Not to the extent. Again, going back to energy, frequency, and vibration, as Bashar says, you can only interact and understand the vibration frequency of that which you are. And when we are looking at some of these control factors like the Pentagon, I'm not talking about every. There's certain people in the Pentagon that are probably more open-minded and not as constricted, because when you look at this, let's just look at the structure of the Pentagon and the government and these power structures, military control, war, fighting machines. The energy and the vibration around that in itself is very specific. And when you're looking, not that it's all bad, there's good purpose behind it. The honor aspects, the protection of one's country, the patriot aspects of it, the idea to go and to serve and to protect. These are all very good aspects of that energy, but there's also negative, constricting, limited aspects of that energy as well. So to me, when you are in that energy, you have a very limited view of reality. So you're only going to experience, you may be able to see these USOs popping out of the ocean and detect it with your equipment and stuff. But to have interactions and discussions and talks, I wouldn't guarantee, but I would imagine that those beings of this other consciousness that are kind of just waiting for humanity to get their act together probably wouldn't have any real interest to interact with.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. I wanted to mention, I can't let this show go. I was speaking with Jay Widener earlier today, and he said, "Who's on the show tonight?" I said, "Reuben Langdon," and he literally said, "My favorite person in the whole world. You've got to tell Reuben hi." So I did.
Yes.
And he's probably listening right now going, "Man, Jimmy, 2.5 hours have gone by and you're not going to get that in." But I did. I got that in. He says hello. Now, there's the...
Hey, Jay.
Yeah. Hey, Jay.
Hope you're listening.
Now, how... let's spend the last 5 minutes we have together discussing probably the most important part of all of this. If you are speaking to somebody from Zeta Reticuli, somebody that's, 1,000 light years away, 2,000 light years away, these great distances, how does that happen in real time?
Well, this goes to, Einstein's spooky action and existence, where thought or consciousness is not limited by gravity or light. So frequency and vibration, which we're finding now could very well be limitless in its potential to traverse the galaxy, to communicate with other beings through simply thought. A lot of Stephen Greer's C5 work is based on using, meditative modalities of sending specific thoughts and invitations into the cosmos to connect with these beings. And many times, I know you've been on some C5 adventures, you see these lights have a physical response to the thought and the intention that you put out there. So I don't think our science has fully grasped how all of this works, but I do believe there is a possibility to traverse space and time beyond the limitations of the speed of light. And you would conclude that that would have to be the case for some of these beings if they are coming from Zeta Reticuli or the Pleiades or these other far out there star systems, that they would have to have technology that would go that would be able to interact with this thought process.
So what we're suggesting, and it has to be this way, I understand that, but that thought is the speed of now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you hear from all of the ancient indigenous leaders and gurus, and as well as the ETs say this all the time: all is here now. Anything outside of now doesn't exist. It's just it's a concept. It's an idea. And it may exist for another civilization over there further now, but when we merge, if I'm thinking about an ET or thinking about a consciousness, perhaps if that consciousness is more evolved, where it can detect what I'm thinking, then they can feel that invitation, so to say, to show up in my reality right now. But the past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist. These are just concepts and ideas. So if we look at the past and the future as the same as 444 light years away than Pleiades, then it might be the same thing as the past or the future. So in many cases, we might be interacting with future versions of ourselves or past versions of ourselves.
That was a question I was going to bring up earlier. A lot of this may be just that, right? That we are communicating with ourselves.
Exactly.
Now, there has to be, I'm looking at the clock, man, we're running out of time. If ET, which they are, interstellar trade systems, and they're moving from star system, galaxy to galaxy, these huge amounts of distance, you can't wait for the speed of light communication. You can't wait 10,000 years for a response on your distress call, right? That communication has to be in real time. There isn't another way to look at it.
Exactly. And we know from Bob Lazar's testimony that they use that, at least for the craft that he was working on, uses gravity waves, which in a sense creates its own space-time bubble around it, sort of nullifying any other space-time now moments outside of it. So it's its own unique space-time. And if we were able to connect or use the consciousness of the ship, in a sense, which many of the ETs say their ships, there's a mind connection. Their ships are alive. The AI is so advanced that it's an actual consciousness that they interact with. When we can get our AI to that state, and we can just tell it, okay, I want to go here, literally connecting my imagination to a living consciousness in the form of a craft, then we can use gravity waves to help us move us through space-time.
It would have to be that way. You're not going to have a cosmic phone book, right? It's not
right.
It doesn't work that way.
Literally, yeah. I think there would be too many variables in that. But again, with AI and with intention or different technologies, could have access to, as Bashar says, it has given us the formula for time travel. If we want to adjust. So the way I see it is, if we take our conversation here, everything in my room, everything in your room, each and every item has its own space-time frequency. And we would have to have a supercomputer that could read and identify all of those variables in that space-time now. And if we had that technology, then we could hypothetically project those frequencies in say, a projector, like we would watch a movie, but they would be a very advanced movie, so tuned in to these other realities that perhaps we could just walk through that projector light, and then we would actually end up in that reality.
Yeah, and to a pinpoint location. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Reuben, thank you so much. Where can everybody go get all of the information that they need for interview with ED?
It's interviewwithed, all one word, .org is the website. My personal website, ReubenLangdon.com, and that'll get you over there too. And that also gets you links to the Citizen Hearing. We will be airing a new episode of Citizen Hearing on Friday. Season 3, episode 1, what is light language, drops tomorrow on Vimeo.
Thank you so much, Reuben. What a great conversation tonight. And I am literally going straight to the credits. Thank you so much, Reuben. I'm about to get cut off the network right now, so let's get this in. Reuben Langdon, ReubenLangdon.com. The links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camurian. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palmer, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here, Linda Moulton Howe. Very special thanks to Reuben Langdon. Until tomorrow night, everybody be safe. It's time to fade to black.